Recently, I installed this illuminated rocker switch in our kitchen to make it easier to locate the fixture at night. During this installation, I discovered that these switches are not only compatible with incandescent CFL, but also LED lights. With older lighted switches, CFLs and LED lights can sometimes cause them to flicker. Here's an example of an older illuminated switch that's connected to an LED light. And as you can see, there's some slight flickering that's going on with this lamp. Now, fortunately, the client wants to replace this with a rocker switch, so we can put in an illuminated rocker switch that won't flicker. However, because this switch is in a hallway and there's another switch at the other end of the hallway, we need to use what's called a three-way switch to make this work. So what's a three-way switch and how is it different from the regular switches in your home? Well, here's an example of just a regular switch. It's a simple off-on switch. If you look on the back of it, there are only two terminals. We'll ignore this one. This is just ground. And it'll either have it or not have it, depending on the age of your switch. So for a circuit to work, you need to have power coming in, a switch, power coming back out, and then a device at the other end. In our case, if power came in here, this switch is in the off position, so there is no internal connection going to this terminal to feed out to the device. When I flip it into the on position, there is an internal connection made, so the energy flows in, goes through, comes back out, goes to the device, it turns on. In a three-way switch, you have three terminals. Energy still comes in through one, and depending on the position of the switch, either this post is energized or this post is energized. By being able to select which one gets energized, you can feed the next switch down the circuit, and therefore you can control one device with two different switches. And unlike our on and off switch, these don't have an on and off position because they alternate depending on which one is up or down at the other end. So you literally just go and you toggle, because this may be the on position at one point, but depending on where I've set the next switch, this could be the off position. It could be the opposite. But the really cool thing about three-way switches is that it doesn't matter which position it's in, you just flip to the other side of the toggle and your device goes on or off. With this switch, there are three different ways of connecting the wire to it. You can use the side mount method, in which you put a loop on the wire and you insert it and you turn the screw clockwise to lock it down. So make sure your loop is going clockwise so that it's tightening it, not loosening it as you turn the fastener clockwise. Another method is the quick method, and all you do is you strip the insulation off via this guide, and shows you how much. And now there's a hole here, there's a hole here, and a hole here. You simply push the wire in, also known as a push connection. Push the wire in all the way until the insulation sits flush and your connection is made. And then finally, the last one is called the back connection. And now you'll notice that there's a plate here that lifts up. And if I get underneath it, I can go all the way to the bottom. And now I tighten that screw. And as you see, the insulation is just right up to that clamp. And we can make a secure connection this way also. I prefer using the side wire myself because I like wrapping the wire around the terminal, but any of these three methods is acceptable. The very first thing we do is we turn off the circuit breaker so that there's no power at the switch. satisfy that there is probably no power at the switch, we remove the faceplate. And I only say that because I still need to verify that the wiring inside of here is not hot. And until I confirm that for myself, I'm going to proceed with caution. We take the faceplate off. We'll remove the switch. Now here you want to be careful, because if this has been painted after installation, you'll want to score that, because if you go and try to pop this out, you'll probably pull some paint or maybe even plaster with that. We pull the switch forward, and now this is where I confirm that there is no electricity. I use a probe. Of course, I test this probe before I try it in here, just to make sure that this is also working. Before using your non-contact tester on a circuit, test it on a live circuit to make sure that it is working correctly. We go in here. There is no indication that there are any live wires, so this is safe to handle with bare hands. In inspecting the wiring, we see that there's a black wire, a white wire, and a red wire over on the other side, which corresponds to our new switch. Black on top, common terminal there, and also one on this side. So all we're going to do is just wire it exactly the same way as this one is. We also have a ground that we'll have to connect, and this box is a little loose in there, and if I can, I'm going to see if maybe I can just put a wooden screw into the wall behind it and secure that a little bit better, but that's not our main concern. So you simply unscrew this and attach it to the new switch. There's really no up or down with these switches because they're three-way, so on could be there or on could be there depending on the configuration of the other switch. This one was configured with the black on the left-hand side originally, and only because this has the name down here am I going to mount this way, and unfortunately the black is over on this side. Simply means that I just have to cross these wires over. The red's going to go on the other side, and as will the ground. I grab my black, put it on the terminal, make sure that it's going to turn clockwise because we want it to tighten with the wire, not to loosen it. And now I proceed to the white that's going to go up on top. And you want to make sure that these are on nice and tight. And now all we have to do is bring over our red and our ground, and then we'll be done. So here we are with the ground wire connected, our traveling red connected, power coming in on the bottom, the white neutral up here, which is also going to end up carrying power. And now to get all this back inside, what we're going to do is we're going to accordion the wire. That means I'm going to push the wire up, then bend it down, and if I have to, bend it up one more time so that it literally just folds in as you push the switch into the box. That's the best way to do this. So don't be afraid just to bend it down and bend it up. And then we'll get it in, put the screws back into the box, and then we'll be ready to put the cover over it. I got these Leviton wall plates, and the really nice thing about them is the screws are already preset on them, and so they're attached, so you don't have to fiddle around with trying to get the screw lined up and hold the cover in place. You just simply turn the screw, and I like lining up the slots of the screw so that they're in the same direction. You don't want to go too tight because it is plastic and you will crack it. There we go. One switch down, one to go. To do the other switch, same exact thing. Wiring doesn't change. So you do the same thing, and then we'll be ready to turn on the circuit breaker. With the second switch installed, we turn on the power. We get our non-flickering light. We have a working wall switch. We go down to the other unit, and we flick it off, and we get our illuminated lamp coming on. No flickering. Sounds like a success to me. So again, it's the same configuration for both switches. So as long as you can do one, you can do the other. If you found this video interesting or useful, give us a thumbs up, leave us a comment, join the subscription team, and as always, thank you ever so much for watching.